Bonsoir, bonsoir. N'a dit tout le monde encore bonsoir. Encore, jeudi, c'est 17 avril, deuxième émission, non, deuxième programme, non, sur Causer l'école. Alors, Causer l'école, c'est un programme côté n'a parlé, n'a pas d'informations sur l'école par ici. Et pour capable et bah au plus pouvoir parce que information c'est pouvoir. So knowledge is power. The more information you have, the more power you'll get, you'll have, and you'll be able to help your children. You'll be able to make decisions based with this information. So today we're going to talk about testing. But before we talk about testing, we're going to do a few minutes with what we discussed last Saturday, which was mostly about the 10-point system. So last Saturday, we said that you need a C in order to get 5 points the second semester. And right now we're in the second quarter, which is part of the second semester. So you need 10 points to pass a class, which is a D. But with those 10 points, from those 10 points, you need 5 points in the second semester. So even if you have 20 points, but the second semester you get an F and a D, the D only give you 2.5. And with the 2.5, you will fail the second semester. You will have to go to Florida Virtual to make up that second segment, which is the second half of the year. So we are asking you to really pay attention to those points. Once you do well the first semester, you need to do better the second semester. And if you did not do well the first, even if you had 2 Fs the first half of the year and you get 2 Cs, one the third quarter, one the fourth quarter, then that will give you the 10 points that you need to pass the class for the year. So you could fail the first half of the year, but you pass the second half with the 10 points and you pass the entire year. So don't get discouraged if you fail the first half, because you can still pass the entire year. So what we are suggesting is for you to keep studying, keep doing your homework, keep paying attention, so that way you can pass the year. You don't have to go to summer school and make up credits. So today we're going to talk about testing, and there are about 9 different tests that students can take in high school. From the time they enter high school in 9th grade to the time they graduate, they can take up to 9 different exams. And all of those exams, some of them are required for graduation and others are not. The other ones are for college admission, and they are also for college scholarships for you to go to college. So the first one we're going to talk about is the PSAT. The PSAT, you take that in 10th grade, and that's a test that help you prepare for the SAT, and the SAT is the big one. We'll talk about that later on, afterwards. But the PSAT that you take in 10th grade, right now, if you score a 430 in the math section, that can replace the Algebra 1 EOC. The Algebra 1 EOC is the math requirement for graduation. So you can replace that math requirement with a 430 on the PSAT exam. So you need to take the PSAT exam very seriously, and that's a test you take in 10th grade. The Algebra 1 EOC, you take that in 9th grade, because most students take Algebra 1 in 9th grade. Many of you probably take it in 7th grade or maybe even 8th grade. But after you take the Algebra 1 class, you have to take the EOC, and once you pass the EOC, you meet that requirement for graduation. So the next test is the SAT. So the SAT, you can use it for three different things. You can use it for scholarships. You can use it for a concordant score to replace the FSA reading, and you can also use it for college admission. So in order for you to use it to replace the FSA reading, you need to score a 430. 430. And 430 next year, the graduation class of 2022, you will need a 480. 480 points. So they raised the score that you need on the SAT exam. It used to be 430, now it's 480. So if you used to count on that to replace the FSA reading, so now you have to work even harder. You have to prepare yourself even more in order for you to get that 480 that you need. And one way for you to do that is to the Khan Academy. So if you go to khanacademy.org, you can practice for the SAT exam. khanacademy.org. You can practice to take the SAT exam. Okay? And if you go to sat.org as well, on sat.org, they have practice exams there for you to prepare for the actual SAT. And they time it the same way, the different sections, and that will prepare you to actually take the SAT exam. So we are encouraging you to go on sat.org to take practice tests for the SAT. The next test is the ACT. The ACT can also be used for the same three things that I mentioned for the SAT. It can be used for college admission, it can be used for scholarships, and it can also be used as a concordant score to replace the FSA reading. So on the ACT, this year you need a 19 on the ACT to replace the FSA. Next year, the class of 2022, you can score an 18. So what they did was they lowered the ACT to 18 and they raised the SAT to 480. So if I were a student, I will take both tests. I would not focus solely on the SAT. I will also focus on the ACT because colleges, they use both exams for admission. Many of them use the SAT, but I can guarantee you they also accept the ACT exam for college admission. So on the ACT, if you score a 16 on the math section, that 16 on the math section can replace the Algebra 1 EOC, okay? And a 420 on the SAT, on the math section, will also replace the Algebra 1 EOC. So you can replace both the FSA reading and the Algebra 1 EOC with those two exams, the SAT and the ACT. So again, you need a 16 in the math section of the ACT to replace the Algebra 1 EOC, and a 420 on the math section of the SAT to replace the Algebra 1 EOC. So again, next year, the class of 2022, you need a 480 on the SAT reading to replace the FSA, a 480. All right. So now let's talk about the other EOCs that you take. So students, sometimes they wonder, why am I taking all of those EOCs? You have a biology EOC, US history EOC, you have Algebra 1 EOC. So those EOCs count 30% of the final grade, okay? 30% of your final grade. So if you have a final grade of a B and you take the EOC exam of a US history class and you score a 1 or a 2, that B that you had as your final grade, the B dropped to a C. In order for you to maintain the B, you need to score a 3. And if you score a 4 or a 5, the B will become an A. So that's the importance of those EOC exams. So we are asking parents who are maybe listening and students who are maybe listening to go ahead and give more weight to those EOC final exams because they count 30%. So a B could drop to a C, and a B could also go up to an A, and it could also remain a B. But you need a 3 for it to remain a B, a 4 or a 5 will move it to an A, but if you score a 1 or a 2, it will drop it. That B will be dropped to a C as your final exam. And as you know, those final grades, that's what goes to your GPA, and that could cause your GPA to drop and your class rank could also drop, and that could mean admission to a university or college as well. So many colleges, they have their own recalculation. So when you send your transcripts to the schools and they recalculate your GPA, they will do that using those core classes. So we are asking you to pay more attention to those core classes. Those core classes are English, math, science, social studies, and foreign languages. So they look at those classes to recalculate your GPA. That's why it's very important. We'll go into more details with that when we talk about graduation requirements. I just wanted to touch a little bit on those core classes today. But we're going to stay with testing because today we're mostly talking about testing. So again, those EOCs, you need a 4 or a 5 in order for those final grades to go up. And if you score a 3, the final grade will stay the same. If you score a 1 or a 2, the final grade will drop to a lower grade. And you don't want that to happen. So what about the AP exams? You also have AP exams. So if you are taking an AP class, it could be AP Government, AP Economics, AP Psychology, it could be AP Statistics. So those AP classes will give you college credit. So, but in order for you to earn that college credit, your final grade needs to be the points that you have to have on those tests, on those exams, are 3, 4, or a 5. A 3 means you are qualified. A 4 means you are well qualified. And a 5 means you are extremely well qualified. So in order for you to receive college credit for an AP exam, you need to score a 3, a 4, or a 5. If you score a 1 or a 2, you will not receive college credit. You will only receive a credit, a high school credit for the class, but you will not receive college credit. So we are asking you who may be qualified to take AP classes in high school to challenge yourselves. And again, we will go over those requirements in the future, because we have many students who are qualified to take those classes, but they prefer taking honors classes because the honors classes are easier than the AP classes, because the AP classes are college level classes. And they also qualify to take dual enrollment, because dual enrollment is college level classes, and they don't want to challenge themselves. So we are asking you parents who are maybe listening to push your students, your children, to go ahead and take those dual enrollment and AP classes, because that could mean earning college credits while they are in high school, which means, again, I mentioned that last week, that means they will spend less time in college, less money, they will graduate early, and they'll be able to get a job sooner, and getting a job sooner means they'll be able to have a better life sooner. Again, the AP exams, to earn college credit, you need a 3, a 4, or a 5. The next test is CELA. CELA is the ESOL test that the ESOL students take in order for them to test out of ESOL. So the ESOL students are very disadvantaged because they don't get to take honors classes, and it's very difficult for them to take AP classes as well, and dual enrollment classes. So it's very rare for you to have an ESOL students taking AP classes and dual enrollment classes, because they are still in ESOL and they have to take 2 classes, the English class plus a reading class, and yearly and throughout the year they test them, and based on the test results, that's what determines if they are going to remain in the ESOL program or if they're going to be tested out of the ESOL program, so that way they can take a regular class and they will have the opportunity to take additional classes. So we are suggesting to the ESOL students to go ahead and read while you're at home. Listen to a lot of English programs, so that will enhance your English level, and that will facilitate and help you to pass those ESOL exams in order for you to test out of ESOL, so that way you can place yourself in a position before you graduate to take honors classes and maybe dual enrollment classes. So the next exam is the PERT exam. The PERT exam is there for college admission, and you can also use it to replace the Algebra 1 EOC, and the score you get on that is a 97. You need a 97 in order for you to replace the Algebra 1 EOC with the PERT. And the PERT, many schools administer that test on campus, on site, and other schools send you to Miami-Dade for you to go ahead and take the PERT. And again, you need a 97 on the PERT in order for you to use that as a concordant score to replace the Algebra 1 EOC. Next year, the class of 2022, there will be no more PERT. So this year is the last PERT, is the last time, the last year that students can use the PERT as a concordant to replace the Algebra 1 EOC. So the class of 2022, things are going to get a little bit more challenging for you, right? Less tests to use as concordant, and they raising the score on the SAT, which is going to be 480, right? But they lowered the ACT to an 18, from 19 to 18. So again, you should plan on taking both tests in order for you to place yourself accordingly to receive your high school diploma. Again, you can have all the credits, you can have everything, you can be a very great athlete. They will not give you your high school diploma if you don't pass those tests. And you can graduate, go to college without the diploma, but the college will put you on forbearance. They will put you on a forbearance until, if you start in August, you'll be on forbearance until December, which is the fall semester. And by January, which is the spring, if you still haven't passed any of those exams, the university or the college will not allow you to continue. You will no longer be able to register. So we are asking you to take those exams very carefully. Again, to practice for the SAT, you need to go on khanacademy.org, and you can go on sat.org to practice for the SAT in order for you to have a great score. Now, we're going to talk about the SUS matrix. The SUS matrix is all the state universities from FAU, FIU, Florida Gulf Coast, FSU, UF, and all of those state universities are part of the SUS matrix. So what those universities do is that they admit students in the fall and the summer. So let's talk about the summer first. So the summer, if you graduate in June, it is recommended for you to start school in the summer because they lower the standard somewhat in the summer. And that's based on your GPA and your test scores. So for example, FAU will lower the GPA from 1030 in the summer to an 1160 in the fall. So if your score is lower, they will grant you admission if you want to start school in the summer than wanting to start in the fall. So I would encourage you to, when you apply to those universities, don't apply for fall admission because it becomes more challenging. It's a competition because you are competing with students all over the United States, all over the world, who want to attend those schools in Florida because of our beautiful weather. because of our beautiful state. People from all over the world want to come here. So in order for you to stay here, to take advantage of those great universities that we have, apply for admission in the summer, because I know you might want to take a break. You just graduated in June. You don't want to go to school. You would like to take classes in the fall, but we would suggest for you to apply for admission in the summer, because they lower the test requirements. They also lower the GPA requirement. So they lower them in the summer for summer admission, and in the fall they raise them back, and that's when it becomes very competitive. So we are asking you, when you apply, to apply for summer admission. I see we have a question: in what grade do they start taking AP test? The AP test can start taking in 9th grade when you have an AP class. So in 9th grade, some students take the AP World History. So the AP World History, when you take that AP exam in 9th grade, if you score a 3, a 4, or a 5, you will earn college credit. So you can start earning college credit in 9th grade, basically. And by the time you're in 12th grade, you can easily have 30 for 45 college credits, because we do have students, when they graduate high school, they graduate with an associate degree. So they go on to college and just to do 2 more years for a bachelor's and another 2 years for a master's. So you have students after high school who are spending 4 years in college, and then they get their master's degree. So take advantage of those AP classes if you can, because all you really need is a 3.0 or 3.0 GPA, unweighted GPA. You'll be able to take AP exams, AP classes, and those AP classes with the AP exam, you'll be able to earn college credit. Then we're looking at the Bright Future, very important information, which is a scholarship. I want to tell you next week, we will start talking about scholarships, and I will give you some sites where you can go to apply for scholarships. So the Bright Future Scholarship, which is a scholarship that pays for 100% of your tuition, or 75% of your tuition. That scholarship itself is based on testing. That's why I wanted to mention that today, because that scholarship is based on the SAT or the ACT. Okay, so next week, next Saturday, when I talk more about scholarship, I will give you the details about what score you need on the SAT and what score you need on the ACT in order for you to qualify for the Bright Future Scholarship. Okay, so that's a very good scholarship for students who are, you're welcome, Fiel. Did it, that's my Fiel. Thanks for watching. You're welcome. So that scholarship has been extended. The deadline for you to apply, you have to go to and create an account. The deadline is December. So it used to be July, but they extended it to December this year. So if you have not created your account yet, and you have a 3.0 unweighted GPA or a 3.5, so you can go and create an account for the Bright Future Scholarship. Again, on Saturday next week, I'm asking you to go ahead and watch again, be part of our live, so that way I can give you the test, the score requirements. You're going to need community service. I'm going to tell you how many community service hours you need. I'm going to tell you what score you need on the ACT, what score you need on the SAT, because this is what I'm doing. So this is what we're doing on Cause L'école. We're trying to give you all the information that you need so you can be better prepared, so you can be better informed, so you can be well informed. And with that information, you become a more powerful student, a more powerful parent. So that way you can take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there. Because we have too many students graduating and they're not taking advantage of all these scholarships and everything that's out there. and your parents have to work harder. You have to work harder. You have to go to find a part-time job. Meanwhile, you could have qualified for a scholarship and you did not apply for it. So it's very important. Next week, we're going to talk about scholarship and give you all of the websites. We're going to give you at least 10 websites next week where you can go to apply for scholarships. So that way you can have money while you go into college. And again, today we're talking about testing. That's all I have for you today. We talked about the PSAT, which is a 10th grade exam. The PSAT, if you score a 430 on the math section, that 430 will replace the Algebra 1 EOC. We talked about the SAT that you can use for the concordance score, a 430, or next year you need a 480 to use as a concordance score. We talked about the ACT. This year you need a 19. Next year, you only need an 18. We talked about FSA reading. So the FSA reading, when a student take that test and you score a 1 or a 2 on that test, that 1 means they're going to give you intensive reading. So you're going to have English and intensive reading because your score on the FSA reading is a 1 or a low 2. So if you score a high 2 or a 3, you take regular classes. If you score a 4 or a 5, then you get to honors and AP classes. Then again, we are encouraging you to work extra hard for you to try to score those 3, 4, or 5. That's what's going to enable you to take honors classes or AP classes. And again, those classes will give you a higher GPA because they give you bonus points. So when you take an honors class and you take AP classes, those classes give you bonus points. And those points, that's what give you a higher GPA. And again, you are in a competition with students all over Florida, all over United States, all over the world. So you need to place yourself to compete against all of these other students. So we talked about the Algebra 1 EOC. We talked about all of the other EOCs that count as 30% towards your final grade. So your final grade can go up, your final grade can go down based on your EOC results. So if you score a 1 or a 2, your final grade may drop from a B to a C. If you score a 4 or a 5, your final grade will go to an A. But if you score a 3, your final grade will remain the same. So it's very important when you take those EOCs, don't take them lightly because they go towards your final grade in those exams, in those classes. Biology EOC, US History EOC. We talked about the AP exams. A 3, 4, or 5 will give you college credit. A 1 or a 2 will not give you college credit, but you will pass the class and have high school credit. Okay? The CELA, which is the ESOL exam, based on the score that you score on that test, then that will determine if you go from one level to the next, because the ESOL level has 4 different levels. You have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. So after level 4, you test out of ESOL. You have an opportunity to take honors classes and dual enrollment or AP classes. So until you are in the ESOL program, you cannot take AP classes. So it's very difficult for an ESOL student to take AP classes. So you gotta test out of ESOL in order for you to take AP classes or dual enrollment classes. Even if you have the GPA, we will not send you we will not allow you to take dual enrollment because you are in the ESOL program. So you are at a disadvantage. So again, this year, the PERT that you need, the score you need on the PERT exam is 97, right? You need a 97 this year, and that 97 will replace the Algebra 1 EOC. The Algebra 1 EOC is the test that's required for graduation. Next year, there's no more PERT. So you only have this year to pass that PERT exam to replace the Algebra 1 EOC. Okay? So that is really all the information we have for you today. And I was saving the big announcement for the end because there's a big surprise for all of our students who are graduating this year, and it's a gift. I'm not sure if it's a good gift, because not every gift is good, right? So are you ready for the announcement? If you are graduating this year, you don't need an exam to graduate. You won't need an SAT exam. You don't need the ACT. You don't need the FSA. All right? You don't need the FSA reading. You don't need the Algebra 1 EOC. They waived those requirements. So you can graduate this year, receive your high school diploma with no test results. So if you were, battering yourself, you could not sleep because you haven't yet passed those exams, I'm telling you, beginning today, you can feel free, you can feel liberated, right? There are no more test requirements for graduation this year. So Tallahassee, the Florida Department of Education, they waive the testing requirements for the 2021 class. Not the 2020-22 next year, the 2021 class. The testing requirements have been waived by the Florida Department of Education. So you don't have to worry about passing them for this year. You need them for scholarships. You need them for college admission, right? But not for graduating high school and receive your diploma. Then again, there are many colleges that are also waiving those SAT admission score. So if you are interested in going to UF, FSU, FIMU, UCF, USF, those big universities, FIU, call them, call the admission office, go on their website to see whether or not they are waiving those test requirements as well. Because for high school graduation, they are waiving them. For college admission, it's possible that the college you are interested in is also waiving those test requirements. So go ahead and make a phone call to that college and ask them whether or not they are doing so. So again, congratulations. They waived those test requirements for you to have your high school diploma. And but again, if your school requires those tests, I will suggest you go to SAT.org, go to khanacademy.org so you can practice, right? So that way you can raise your score and put yourself in a more competitive line where you can also earn scholarship. And again, this was Dr. Pierre Armand Moreau for Causer l'École. I will see you next Saturday at 6 p.m. for another program. And next Saturday, we will touch on graduation requirements and scholarships. So we will talk about scholarships and graduation requirements next Saturday. So I look forward to see you at 6 p.m. And don't forget to inform your friends. If you have students, if you know somebody who's in high school down here, and again, we have a lot of parents. We have parents who don't even know what grade level the children are. They call and you ask them what grade is he in. I don't know. They don't know what grade the kid is. They don't know the student ID. They don't even know who the counselor is. They don't know the teachers, right? And that's not acceptable. So if you are a parent, you should know your child counselor. You should know all of your child teachers. You should be able to call them. You're supposed to email them. Enter in a good communication with them throughout the year. That doesn't mean you're going to call them every week, but call them, email them, stay in touch with them. All right? So that shows interest. So that way, you show them that you are interested in your children education. Okay? So again, become informed. And here in Causer l'École, this is our job. Our job is to empower you with information, and we believe we're gonna keep doing that until we have no more information to give you, and we don't think that's gonna happen. So we will see you again next Saturday at 6 p.m.